Of R.W. Haggerty and Associates, Bob Haggerty. Bob, good morning.
Good morning, Jim. Good morning, everyone. Well, we see a pretty, let's call it even to down market. S&P futures were down about 1. We see that the NASDAQ is down 6 or 7, and the Dow is down about 10. So we're not looking for a whole lot this morning. We're hoping to hold some ground and not lose it too badly. Abbott Laboratories opened down 30 cents, $38 even. Join Steve Perks and myself for Financial Overview every Saturday afternoon from 12:30 to 1 on the Voice of Lake County, 1220 WKRS. For additional stock quotes, contact R.W. Haggerty and Associates. Call 800-411-8061. Securities provided by First Allied Securities Incorporated. Back to you, Jim.
Thank you very much, Bob. WKRS Lake County radar weather. The forecast today from staff meteorologist Jeff Smith, including Libertyville, Mundelein, and Waukegan. Mostly cloudy this morning. Partially clearing, though, by this afternoon. Not too bad. We'll have a high of 77. Much cooler near the lakefront. Only a high near 70 or so. Right now at O'Hare, it's 68 degrees. It's 58 right now at our studios in Waukegan. 8:51, our news time. Let's check news headlines coming up right after news headlines. State Lieutenant Governor Corinne Wood will join us here on WKRS. First, though, news headlines. Sir Chip Egan.
Sir, Mr.
Mr. Sir.
I'm getting Mr.
Mr. Where'd that come from?
Mr. Sir. That I had never heard of before.
Mr. Sir.
Well, that's a new one.
Mr. Sir. Sir, Mr.
I'll take it. Mr. Mister. Remember that band?
I'm trying to forget.
Yeah, I am too. In
What's
the headlines, well, here's some headlines for you. 3 or 4 deaths resulting from an automobile accident in March have been ruled as homicides. David Malin of Mundelein faces 20 charges, including reckless homicide and driving under the influence, stemming from the accident which claimed the lives of 4 people from Wisconsin. The accident occurred in Richmond, and if convicted, Malin could get up to 28 years in jail. Finally, after 4 years of planning and construction, the Libertyville Sports Complex is now up and running. The facility offers everything from a climbing wall to batting cages to a golf driving range. It's a pay-for-play facility, and officials say everyone from Lake County is welcome. The complex is located at the corner of Route 45 and Peterson Road. And the after-school club in Lake Villa will now be housed at the Lindenhurst Park District's new community center at a vacant site at 210 Lake Street in Lake Villa. The program was in jeopardy when officials said there was no more room to house the club. Since the program debuted in 1985, it's expanded to 10 school districts. That's a look at headlines for now. We'll take a complete look at what's happening in Lake County at the top of the hour, following ABC News at 9 o'clock. The time now 8:52, and from the newsroom, I'm Chip Egan.
Chip, thank you very much. Joining us this morning, State Lieutenant Governor Corinne Wood. Lieutenant Governor, thanks for joining us on such short notice. It's always a pleasure to be able to chat with you.
Well, good morning, and I always love to chat with you and all the folks in Lake County.
I wish we were talking under more favorable circumstances, I guess. This morning I found out the news yesterday. The Main Street program didn't quite make it through the governor's veto.
Well, these are tough times, for individuals and businesses and also state government, and it requires decisions to be made. And there were a number of programs that, affected education and prisons and health care that, had to take reduction. And I understand that we have to make these difficult decisions. But unfortunately, yesterday, the Senate failed to override the governor's veto of the Main Street program. And what's really unfortunate there is that Main Street is one of the most successful, popular, and profitable programs in state government. And in addition to serving Waukegan, it serves, nearly 60 other communities and has, grown jobs, businesses, and generated more than $300 million in private reinvestment in these communities. It really has been the lifeline for so many communities as they've revitalized their downtown. So to totally obliterate the program, I have a hard time understanding the fiscal reason for doing that. Do most of the programs in state government need to be reduced so we can accommodate declining revenues? Of course. But to eliminate an entire program that is as profitable and successful as Main Street just doesn't make budget sense to me.
Now, Lieutenant Governor, if I remember right, it's only about $1 million a year it took out of the budget for the state?
Well, the entire budget for Main Street is about $1 million. And that $1 million, as I've said, has helped generate more than 5,000 jobs and hundreds of millions of dollars in rebuilt communities. So without the Main Street program, I'm questioning whether our economy is going to suffer more. And when you consider that the governor and the four legislative leaders were able to at least pack $100 million for their own pet pork projects into the budget, you've got to ask where their priorities are.
Definitely. It hurts. I was born and raised. I still live in downtown Libertyville. I love my town very much.
And Libertyville is a wonderful Main Street community.
I think I think Libertyville is a prime example of. I think it was about 12 years or so ago, Libertyville became a Main Street community, and the changes in downtown Libertyville are phenomenal. And I think it's a prime example of the success that the Main Street program in the state of Illinois came to so many communities around the state. I know here in Waukegan, Waukegan just became a Main Street program, and the outlook is very exciting for downtown Waukegan, and this was just going to help spur economic and business growth, and it's sad to see it cut.
And create jobs, and it's, again, it's a program where you get a great bang for your buck. So if you're looking at where you need to cut budget dollars, you shouldn't be cutting those profitable programs. You should be cutting that waste out of government.
Now, again, it was only about $1 million a year out of the state government, returning over $300 million. From what I remember from high school economics class, that's a pretty good rate of return.
I think that's a real good return on your investment. What's also sad is that the Main Street program, which is part of an economic development division in the state agency of the Department of Commerce and Community Affairs, none of their other programs were eliminated. You just got to ask yourself, why Main Street?
What was your initial reaction when you found out?
Well, we had, worked along with all the Main Street communities a few weeks ago when the governor cut it out of the budget the first time. Again, no public hearing, no notice, just the decision was made behind closed doors. And we fought hard to get the $1 million back in the budget. The House and the Senate overwhelmingly approved putting the Main Street for $1 million out of a $54 billion budget. And they voted nearly unanimously to put it back into the budget. So we were hoping that we would have been able to override the governor's decision to cut the Main Street program again. But unfortunately, out of more than 200 line items, I think there were 2 or 3 that survived his override yesterday. So we were fighting up to the last minute. I want to thank the Main Street communities, and especially Lake County, the folks in Waukegan and Libertyville and Mundelein, that I know were contacting their legislators and really telling them why this program was so important.
I know I made my round of phone calls, including the governor's office. Very disheartening. What's in the future now? The Main Street program at the end of this year, it's funded through this year, correct?
It's funded to the end of June 30th.
Oh, really? So at the end of this month?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So what's in the future? Is there any chance of maybe turning over everything that the Main Street program and for the state has done? Is there going to be a private entity that's going to take it over? What's in store, too, for the communities involved?
Well, at this point, Tim, we're going back to the drawing board. I'm going to call an Illinois Main Street Council meeting today, review what options that may be there. The one silver lining in this is the real strength of the Main Street program is the local boards, is the involvement of the chambers and the mayors and the volunteers. And for those communities that are established, they may have enough strength there to keep going for a while until we, try and find if there's anything else that can be done. Because this program, as I said, is profitable, successful, it grows jobs in these tough economic times. It just doesn't make any budget sense why this program was cut.
It helped out so many. Real quick, I want to point out too, what did the Main Street program provide to the small business owners? Because I know in the day and age of like large tax breaks to bigger corporations and that sort of thing, I think the Main Street program helped provide a lot of the mom and pop businesses in Illinois and Main Streets throughout the state of Illinois to help survive.
In fact, there were more than, I think, 1,000 new businesses that were started, new businesses in Main Street communities. And a lot of those were small mom and pop businesses. And the Main Street program isn't a handout program, and that's why it's only $1 million to support more than 60 communities. But it provided expertise, it provided advice, architectural services, training sessions on how to organize and to redevelop your community, how to seek out grants and funding. And that's why it's been so successful, because it really is the community's vision and the community's interest and hard work that helped make this program a success.
Now, Lieutenant Governor, is there anything that the residents here in Lake County can do? Could we call the governor's office? Could we call anybody? Is there anything we could do to?
Well, clearly, you can continue to call your local legislators. Many of the legislators in Lake County did support restoring the Main Street money. You can call the governor's office, and perhaps, although we have been, having, people, called our office, legislators, the governor's office for several weeks now, and apparently it just fell on deaf ears. And it's unfortunate, because I think this is a time when the legislators and the governor really needed to listen.
State of Illinois Lieutenant Governor Corinne Wood, our guest this morning. Finally, Lieutenant Governor, have you had a chance to speak with the governor, George Ryan, at all on this issue?
No, have
no.
not.
Okay.
My calls to the Bureau of the Budget have gone unanswered.
Really? I'm sorry to hear that.
I would say we, the people in my office and all the people in Main Street communities throughout Illinois, really did their best, and we were able to convince the legislature of the importance of this program. It is just unfortunate that we could not override the governor's veto.
Did the governor's office issue any sort of rationalization for this at all? And any sort of anything?
No.
Okay. Very frustrating.
They say that politics in Illinois is hardball, and I think we've seen that.
Yeah, well, this is too bad. The Main Street program is something personally near and dear to my heart. I've seen it do so good to my hometown of Libertyville. I had such hope for this. Really would have helped push the downtown revitalization in Waukegan, that extra little oomph it needed, and Mundelein well on its way, and it's too bad to see this happen.
As they say, we'll go back to the drawing board. We're going to hold a Main Street Council meeting today to see what options there are, see maybe what can be done during the transition time. We'll be in contact with the National Main Street office. Again, because I think to too many people and to too many communities throughout this state, this program was the difference between jobs and successful downtown.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a program that I don't really think hardly any legislator wants to see go by the wayside.
Well, I'm very sad to hear again this morning, in case you missed it earlier, the Main Street program in Illinois at the end of the month will be no more. So, Lieutenant Governor, I know the Main Street program was something you worked very hard on at your Winnebago tours last summer. I congratulate you on the success of the program, and I'm really sorry to see this happen.
Well, as I said, we're going to go back to the drawing board. We're going to see what options still might be there in terms of what kind of support we can continue to provide to the communities. And everyone understands that these are tough budget times. Really difficult decisions had to be made. But I think we call upon our legislators and the governor to make wise decisions. Mm-hmm. And I think people are questioning the wisdom of obliterating, not just reducing, obliterating the Main Street program. Yeah,
a program that it costs about $1 million a year has brought in over $300 million. Unless there's more profitable programs out there, I can't think of the rationalization. And are there other programs in the state of Illinois? Maybe I didn't see it that bring in more money.
We tried to start looking in some of the Department of Commerce and Community Affairs programs that also deal with, developing downtowns. And, we just started, looking as of yesterday to say, what other programs were cut? Why weren't they cut? Where is the return on their investment? How many jobs did they generate? We haven't been able to find out those answers yet.
Well, Lieutenant Governor, good luck. I appreciate you coming on such short notice this morning. And if there's anything I can do to help you, please let me know.
Well, I think we can just ask, the folks in Waukegan, Libertyville, Mundelein, for the people that are concerned about having a balanced state budget that makes fiscal sense, to call their state senator and to call their state representative. Tell them either, thank you for voting to support it, or if they didn't, ask why. Because, again, this is a program that means so much to communities. And, even though in Lake County, we're really pretty fortunate in terms of a lot of counties in our state, and a lot of the small rural counties, these main programs are their lifeline.
Definitely. I thank God we have such strong chambers of commerces in our community here. The Lake County Chamber, also Dwight and the GLMV Chamber of Commerce, and the Libertyville and Mundelein downtown areas. Thank goodness at least we have a strong backing there.
Absolutely.
Well, Lieutenant Governor, thanks again for your time this morning. I know you've got to get running. Always a pleasure to chat with you, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Great. Good talking to you, and say hi to all my friends in Lake County.
Will do. Take care.
Thank you.
State of Illinois Lieutenant Governor Corinne Wood, our guest this morning on short notice. We appreciate her calling in. Again, the Main Street program's gone at the end of the month. It's 9:05. Sandra?
Yes, sir.
Final check of Lake County traffic.
Well, thank you, Jim. And taking a look at Matt Mishak was out on eastbound 60 headed towards the Tri-State, where he saw just east of the Tri-State we had construction with only one lane open, causing that big jam up there as you're heading eastbound into and past the Tri-State. Also 43 just south of Abbott Labs. Not looking bad at all this morning as traffic thins out, but unfortunately keep in mind that you still got more construction 60 eastbound heading towards 43, so it's still going to cause a bit of a problem. 41 clearing up just a bit, a couple of scattered slow spots between 137 and 120. On your expressways, inbound Edens, 23 minutes. Lake Cook down to Montrose, 13 coming in from Dempster. Inbound on the Kennedy from Montrose, 33 in the locals, 23 in the express, so a 10-minute save. Southbound Tri-State still seeing problems from Belvedere 120 down to past Town Line Road. And if you are heading in the Glencoe area, keep in mind that Dundee is still shut down in both directions between Green Bay and Forest Way Drive due to earlier problems. Or actually, I should say, correction, we just got off the phone with local police officials' latest updates. A little bit of good news here. Dundee now has one lane open in both directions between Green Bay Road and Forest Way Drive, so it looks like they are trying to clear up that earlier problem. This 1220 WKRS Traffic Report is brought to you by True Value Hardware. True Value's IROC Series is coming to Joliet Chicagoland Speedway Saturday, July 13th. See the world's greatest drivers in auto racing, sponsored by the best name in hardware, True Value. In the Lake County Traffic Center, I'm Sandra Solarte on 1220 WKRS.
Thanks, Sandra. You have a wonderful day.
You too, Jim.
Talk to you soon. Sandra Solarte in the Lake County Traffic Center. Coming up on 9:07, running way late. Mike Gallagher will join him already in progress here in a few minutes. We'll check news next. This is 1220 WKRS Waukegan, product of Next Media.
Fear about fire. Good morning. I'm Richard Davis. Colorado's Governor Bill Owens says his state is suffering from its worst fire season ever. Right now, the biggest threat from a raging blaze south of Denver destroyed 21 homes. It threatens another 2,500. Hundreds of people are crowding suburban shelters around Denver. Reporter Alex Stone in Castle Rock, Colorado, says there's a report of an arsonist setting 2 fires in the area.
That has people real worried because conditions are so dry, drought conditions, plus we have lightning and barbecue grills that can start these fires naturally. Now that there's word there's an arsonist on the loose, people are very scared in this area because of what could be to come this summer when it's so early in the season right now.
That fire is one of at least 8 big ones burning across Colorado, including a blaze near Glenwood Springs. Brian Derby lost his home there.
Went to Walmart yesterday and I grabbed this one pair of socks thinking I just needed this until I got home. And then I realized that, you know what, I don't have nothing at home. I need more than just one pair of socks.
The lawyer for the alleged American al-Qaeda terrorist Jose Padilla is demanding access to her client, saying his rights are being violated with Padilla's transfer to a military brig.
He hasn't been charged. I want that very clear. He would certainly plead not guilty.
White House officials are said to have been annoyed by Attorney General Ashcroft's description of the threat posed by Padilla. USA Today says they were annoyed that Ashcroft overstated the alleged plot. 2/3 of top Catholic Church officials across the country have allowed priests accused of sexual abuse to keep working. That findings in a new survey by the Dallas Morning News. Catholic bishops meet in Dallas tomorrow to discuss their policy.
We must be in a position to ensure our Catholic people that young people and children will be protected.
Archbishop Harry Flynn of Minneapolis going to be at that meeting. This is ABC News.
Time now to take a look at what's happening in Lake County. And with that, I'm Chip Egan reporting from the 1220 WKRS Newsroom. A deal has been reached to end a dispute over the farming of county-owned land. However, not everyone is happy about it. The land in question is a 100-acre parcel north of Winchester Road and west of Milwaukee Avenue. It's been farmed on by the Peterson family of Libertyville since 1963. The Petersons were required to bid for farming rights in 1998,